What's up, everybody? It's Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction Videos Comp. And
Lipstick Penis.
And today we are talking
about The Walking Dead, the Queefing Dead as we call it, Season 6. I guess, we're just covering the whole season up to what it's at.
From episode 4 on, which would be He's Not Here Now. Always accountable, heads up, start to finish, no way out. Is that next season? Yeah, it's next season.
Yeah,
Never
way
mind.
out is next season.
So it was, we did the first 3 episodes of the season, and then this is kind of just a recap and us meditating on the idea of what this season 6 accomplished of The Walking Dead. This is the first half of season 6, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this shows you how, like, the planning of these seasons drive me nuts, because once they're cut in half, then you're like...
it's like distracting. It really is.
Because there's certain shows that play out 12 episodes. That tends to be now a thing for shows. They play out 12 episodes a season. Kind of like that's... Right. I think, to me, what reminded me, or what actually started that off for me was like Dexter, maybe. It seemed like Dexter was sort of a miniseries as a show every season, but it was 12.
Game of Thrones has 10 every
right,
season.
So I think they follow that sort of thing. But The Walking Dead, I think, plays like 22 episodes a season, maybe, or even less.
No, like 16.
16
usually.
episodes. So instead of, they want to milk the shit out of this, so they cut the seasons in half, and they have people going, okay, because we always know every year it starts up in October, and February, March. It probably ends by April, I think. So then there's some timeline. But then they introduce Fear the Walking Dead. So it's sort of, it's going to be
Is Fear the Walking Dead, definitely coming back?
I believe it is. They renewed it, so I think that it is. It's getting, okay. I mean, when we put it on our YouTube, the reviews, clearly as reviews, not as episodes, because a lot of people go to our YouTube channel and be like, oh, is this the episode? And then they curse at us. But
they get upset. Like, why are we going to play the episode?
Even in the review episodes, we got high numbers.
Review. I don't understand.
We get high view counts for our Fear the Walking Dead reviews.
Yeah, because they think they're going to see the episode.
Yes, but
they're
anyway.
They're not allowed to do that on YouTube.
So, when we last off in our last review, it ended with Thank You, which dealt with Glenn's obvious death in the pit.
I knew that wasn't going to be it.
And it took you a while to get to watching the rest of the season, right? What happened?
It did take me a while.
Just not interested, or you are a busy guy, you work a lot?
It wasn't that. It was just like I had moved and I started my new job and I was living in some guy's laundry room before I found my new apartment. Like, it was it was a little hard to, make the time, honestly.
Do you think it was worth getting back into it this season?
Yeah, it was a great season.
I think it was a very good season, this go time. It sort of bothered me that it seems to have taken place only over 3 or so days. I'm not sure. I think it takes place maybe 4 days or something like that. The whole gist of the season is Rick and company are at Alexandria, and they lead the strongest fighters they took with them to lead a large group of zombies into this pit and kind of trap them all in there, which would make Alexandria safe because they figured out.
They broke out of the pit. Now they're just trying to get them to bypass the town, basically.
Oh, I thought they were trying to trap them into the pit. Oh, that's what it was. I keep reversing that idea. You're right. You make sense. And craziness happens because while they're leading these people, while they're leading these zombies away, these faction called the Wolves attack Alexandria. And it still might be my favorite episode. What's that?
I said, what jerks?
The Wolves, right?
Yeah,
that's
what
jerks. Oh, what jerks? I thought you were asking me what jerks, like some sort of fucking comedy routine. So we're jumping back and forth, and there was a very interesting episode that dealt with which character? Learning.
Are you talking about
Morgan?
The whole training samurai character?
Yeah, because I remember one of my
Morgan trains.
One of my biggest problems this season was the character Morgan, who's a
you really don't like the fact that he's suddenly a ninja.
I'm fine with it now because there's an explanation of it. Morgan was, to me, the actor who plays Morgan, who's a British fellow. That not bothered me, but it was like
it is freaky how they're all like fucking British.
It disturbed me as much as when I found out Andrew Lincoln was English when I first heard him.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I thought playing Rick. I was like, what the?
You just gave him like an Irish accent.
No, well, I guess sort of. But anyway, Lenny James, who plays Morgan Jones, I think for the first time I heard him talking on The Talking Dead, he was like, well, oh, I see. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, holy shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is very strange. Maggie, too.
It's very disturbing, yes. But she has a weird accent. Like, if you ever really listen to the girl who plays Maggie, I think it's Lauren Cohen.
Is she from England, or is she from
New
Zealand or something? Who knows?
She has a mix of two accents, and I can't think of what... It's like an English and an Australian accent, which is very strange. Have you ever listened to her accent?
I'm terrible with accents.
Me too, but
honestly.
I mean, if you hear hers, it's not even from this fucking planet. It's very pretty. She's a very pretty woman, and she is a decent actor on the show. She's a good actor on the show. And just hearing her, you're like, what kind of accent is that? Because you're like, oh, at the first part, you're like, she's English. And then you're like listening to it, and you're like, no, there's like some sort of Australian thing going on here. Anyway, I had a problem with Morgan having karate powers out of nowhere. Because to me, he was the best actor. To me, he was even better actor than Andrew Lincoln. Because Andrew Lincoln... His acting is sort of like, we gotta do this. And he'll just look around before he delivers his next line. You can literally see that before he says any line, he looks to his left and his right, and then he says the line. I was like, who's he looking at? Like,
there's always, like, I remember in Lost, Jack always did this thing. Someone pointed it out to me, that he would always, like, pace back and forth when he would, before delivering a line, and like Andrew Lincoln has that kind of thing too, where he always does like this thing.
Maybe Jack was walking to see a script that was tied up to a tree or something in the background. But anyway, Morgan had these karate powers, and I was bothered. I was like, why does he fight with a bow staff? Why is all of a sudden he's like he's Donatello from the Ninja Turtles? And we did get that one episode, which to me it actually went back to the first episode of The Walking Dead, which I enjoyed a lot, which sort of played off as a film. That Morgan episode felt like a movie to me. Like,
yeah, it was good. And his guy, I know him from something. Something.
He's been in a lot of things, Danny, and you'll.
But I think he was in the one, with the astrology Zodiac, right?
Yes, he was in Zodiac. He was the cross-dressing brother of Drew Carey's character from the Drew Carey Show. Also, he was Twisty the Clown from American Horror Story.
Oh, okay.
He's been in a lot of things. He actually played... it was so funny. He played... who's that real-life serial killer, the fat guy, that killed 30 kids and he hid them under his house? John Wayne Gacy.
He was John Wayne Gacy? I can see that.
No, he played John Wayne Gacy in the latest episode of... one of the episodes of American Horror Story, Hotel. Because they have like a serial killer party, so there's like John Wayne Gacy. There's I wish he had played the Zodiac killer. That would have been fucking hilarious. And then they also have Jeffrey Dahmer. It's a great episode. But anyway, he plays Morgan's sort of sensei, and that episode alone. If you would have made that episode a film by itself, it could have been a standalone film.
It was really good, and I don't even care about Morgan that much.
Really, right. Good. It was like an hour-and-a-half episode. It was a special episode, but it was good. I like when you have a competent character with The Walking Dead, you're able to make an episode that doesn't star Rick or any of his people that are with him. Like, that was a good episode. I'm waiting for a fucking Michonne episode by herself. They're sort of like, they sort of have those episodes.
I don't know if they ever will do that. Because they kind of give her backstory already. It's kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, and the thing is, Michonne is sort of a super character like Daryl. And Daryl got his own episode practically. He sort of got his own episode when he was trapped in the woods, once the wolves had attacked him. And,
right.
And he had to go fend himself off with two characters. One of the characters was actually in the comic book.
Well, but it wasn't a backstory episode. Like,
no, it was like a...
I don't think we need backstory episodes on these guys.
Right. Because there was also that episode when Alexandria got attacked by the wolves, and they didn't have Andrew Lincoln. It was the opposite side of when Andrew Lincoln and all the other characters, Rick and company.
Do they even all know that the wolves attacked? Not all of them know. Like,
no, I don't think so.
Knows now, and he just found out, kind of thing. Like,
certainly, what's his name? Who's the guy with the red hair? Herschel? No, not Herschel. I'm sorry, Herschel's dead. It would be Abraham. Sorry, Abraham and Sasha are trying to, get a. They're just lost somewhere, and they're trying to make her. They're trying to make Abraham much deeper. I don't really care about Abraham myself. I think it's because I know what happened.
Yeah, I don't care much about him either, especially because he's going to end up cheating on what's-her-face with Sasha like a fucking asshole.
Yeah, it's so funny because, like, there's something about... And this is... I'm sure going to get shit like this because I'm sure there's going to be like, oh, well, you don't like ethnic hair. If you ever see the act... Like, Sasha looks like basically all the women look all like fucked up in this show. Sasha, if you ever see the actress who plays Sasha, who's Sonequa Martin Green, if you've ever seen her outside of the show, how she looks, she's fucking gorgeous. Like, she's incredibly gorgeous looking outside of this show.
I'm looking it up while you talk.
Because she looks like an insane person on the show, and they give her this sort of weird look. What?
No, it's just funny. She does look like an insane person. You're right.
In the show, she looks insane, and she was playing an insane character. She's sort of all together now, but she's hot outside the show. And I was like, why isn't she hot on the show? But that's sort of, whatever.
Well, they're not supposed to be hot.
I guess not.
They're supposed to be like people who have like fucking zombies and shit around them.
They do a good job of hiding her up. You know what I mean? I guess so. But she's fucking hot. That chick is hot.
She is hot. I'm looking at her right now.
She's very hot. And anyway, so they have I'm not interested in Abraham and Sasha. They're sort of building Sasha for a moment was going to become like the second Michonne, I think, with the show. They were building them up to be like Daryl and Michonne, and Carol is sort of getting to that point too, where Carol is becoming super Terminator. But I like what Carol does. I appreciate what Carol's smart.
Carol was pissing me off in the episode where she's fighting Morgan. Like, what the fuck?
Why not?
No, I know, but it's like it gets to a point where it's like, okay, enough, and then like try again later.
If anyone, Morgan is the one that should be pissing everybody off because he wants to have this.
No, Morgan was pissing me off too, but Carol's gonna like fucking kill herself, trying to do what? Like,
Morgan does very dumb things.
Yeah.
But it's against the philosophy of Rick's character, and we're watching this as third-hand people watching this show, this world that these people are going through. So Rick is like, kill everybody who's trying to destroy our lives. That's how he is in this show. Morgan, right? Morgan thinks every life is important, that it has
he's
meaning.
Where Rick was in season 1.
Right. And Morgan takes in one of the wolves and hides them inside of one of the buildings. And I was perplexed by something that happens at the season finale when 3 characters walk in with guns, and this wolf guy has a knife towards one of the girls' necks. The girl who has a gay relationship with what the hell is her name? She's having a relationship with one of the girls. I forget her name.
The nurse lady?
Yeah, the nurse lady's having a relationship with... Is it Tara?
I couldn't tell if that was
Tara.
Official or not.
Well, she made out with her. I guess we don't know. But anyway, they hold a knife to Tara's neck, and he says, drop your guns. You know what they do? They all drop their guns. There's 3 of them. They got fucking guns. Yeah. Why would you... I mean, that's when the writing is, really fucking stupid.
Well, I mean, she could have slit her throat or something.
Who gives a shit? I mean...
But honestly, I think that guy will come back to be good, honestly.
You really think so?
I think so only because from a writing perspective, we're not going to hate Morgan. He's going to have to be validated.
Well, I guess so. But then...
They didn't bring this character back over the course of 6 seasons so that we all hate him and think, oh, you idiot, you got this person killed. He's going to come back and be proven right. It has to happen.
Because in his flashback episode, we see a huge goof is what causes his sensei to get killed. And that was so... I mean, that too was poor writing. Because he's not... This is a sensei that's been living... I keep calling him sensei just because I picture him as Splinter of the Ninja Turtles.
Is it Sifu? I don't know. Is it Aikido, Kung Fu, or Karate? I don't know.
Yeah, it's very racist what you just said. But he gets...
Well, Kung Fu's a whole school of different art. I don't know anything about it. Shut up.
You think like I know? He gets bitten by a zombie that I think Morgan had killed earlier in the day. But, I mean, it was so sloppy how the zombie... This is a zombie Morgan could have seen over that guy's shoulder. And he just gets bitten. And I was like, what the fuck is... Anyway, that was still a great episode to me. And what is the biggest reveal of this season that people were bitching and complaining about the whole...
Oh, like Glenn?
Yeah,
is that what
Glenn.
You're talking about?
Glenn is alive.
Glenn is alive. I knew he was going to be alive.
Of course. Because what people theorized as soon as they saw it was they're eating guts out of Glenn's chest, but that happened to be the other asshole that fell on Glenn, Nicholas, who shot himself in the head. So Glenn moved the body and then he hid underneath a trash dumpster. And he makes it out. It was so funny because I hadn't missed the episode when he came back alive, but I knew he was going to come back alive. And I remember...
There's no way they're killing him that way. We already know how he dies in the comics. Spoiler, we're not saying it, but...
I forgot that the show airs at 9 o'clock, not 10 o'clock, because usually I mixed it up with American Horror Story Hotel being at 10 o'clock, and
We should
this
put
show's
a
at
spoiler alert because I just
9.
said he died.
Yeah,
in the
I'll
comic.
put it on the name of the episode. But it was at 9, so I missed it. I was like, oh, fuck. And you know how there was all these people online going, oh, Glenn can't be dead and we're not going to watch the show anymore. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
police. So then I'm like, I'm just changing the channels, and the episode had finished. And then there's like some sort of weird ad, and it's the actor who plays Glenn. What the hell is his name?
What did he say?
I'll tell you in a sec. Stephen Yeun. He comes up and he's sitting in a chair, and it's like a very serious looking commercial. He's sitting down in this actor's chair. You know those actors' chairs that they have on sets. And he goes, "Hi, I'm Stephen Yeun, and I want to say I'm really glad that you guys care about my character, and I'm happy to be back." And I was like, "What the fuck? Were people that incensed about him getting killed in the show? They had to put a fucking commercial that, like, people were, like, sending death threats to the actors or something? Like, what the fuck?"
That wouldn't surprise me.
It's true. That's true.
We have a really crazy country.
But I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, who gives a shit? It's a show. I mean, if they were to really follow what happens in the comic book, he's going to be dead. I certainly think he will be dead.
Well, do you think that now, I mean, he kind of dodged the bullet. You think they're going to now kill him again with Negan?
The season's finished, and they show him hanging out with characters I don't think he hung out with in the comic book. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, half the characters in the fucking show
That's
are
true.
not in the comic book.
But also, like I told you before, I had seen somebody had released some sort of spoiler footage. It's very blurry. You can't tell what's going on, but it's obviously a sequence with Negan, who's played by Harry Dean Stanton, I think his name is.
Okay.
The comedian from The Watchmen, the movie.
That's a good cast.
Harry Dean Stanton is not even the actor. If you saw who Harry Dean Stanton is, that'd
the
be
comedian?
not the actor.
That's a good cast.
No, but it is the comedian from The Watchmen. But Harry Dean Stanton is a very old man who's 89 years old. So, well, I don't know why I said that name, but it's not Harry Dean Stanton.
I've got, hold on. Not Eddie Blake. That's the character.
We'll see the name right now in a second. What the hell is Jeffrey Dean Morgan? That's why I said Harry. Anyway, Jeffrey Dean Morgan, he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in The Watchmen. He played the comedian. He was very good in that film. He's been in a lot of movies.
He's in that demon one with the Jewish demon.
Yeah, The Possession, right? He's really
Yeah.
good. He's sort of he's an actor that I always confuse for another actor, but I can't think of who the other
I
actor
like
is.
him a lot. He kind of has like a buff Robert Downey Jr. look.
Right, he does look like that.
Oh, he's from Seattle. Look at that.
Very good. Maybe he's there right now. You can go call him up. Anyway, he's sort of an actor who's quasi-famous. He's very much a genre actor, but he's a very good actor. But he seems to not get above film level. Like, for some reason, he can't make it to the film level of fame. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's certainly a great actor, because when you see him in Watchmen, he's great in that movie.
Oh, he's amazing, yeah.
He's a complete asshole in that film, but he's very watchable in that movie. But for some reason, he can't get to A-list status. He's sort of like a B-list
But you know what?
status.
We like him where he is.
And I think he'll be a good Negan. But anyway, the footage that I saw was a blurry shot of a guy wielding a baseball bat, hitting it over a dummy's head. The dummy's head looks like Glenn's head, but that's only because of haircut. It might be.
I think that was misleading and
Right.
on purpose. And honestly, he probably will break somebody's head with what is it, Lucille is the name of the bat?
Right, Lucille's the bat. But it's also a lot of people theorizing that maybe it's Daryl's head that he breaks open with the
that's
baseball
what
bat.
I think.
Because I think there's a lot of
They
politics.
have to kill one of these immortal characters.
There's a lot of politics behind the scene because Daryl sells toys. Daryl sells merchandise.
Daryl makes little girls wet their pants.
Daryl is a very important part of, and the story, whatever. The story's fine, they'd be like, oh, for story purposes, we have to kill him off. But Daryl is the face of The Walking Dead besides Rick.
Yeah.
He's the epitome of the sweaty bad boy that doesn't say anything most of the episodes. And I liked the episode where he was by himself, kind of, because I was like, okay, they're making Daryl do something important in this episode, where he meets up with two other characters. One of the characters actually is from the comic book, and I appreciated it.
There are people that live in the other communities, right?
Right. These are the characters that are part of Negan's community. It wasn't said straight up, but I looked up after a while who this character was, and he is what is his name? He's actually this character in the comic book who is a really, really important part of the comic book. He has.
Are they in Negan's community, or are they in one of the communities?
They're getting out.
This
is sort of a a prequel to what happens, because in the comic book this character already comes back and half his face is melted off. Like his face is sort of done with.
See, you're further along. I actually
I've read
anymore, and I'm excited to see.
I'm
where
up to date in the comic, and that character
anything,
is very important in the comic book. He's very, very important, and I'm fine with Jeffrey Dean Morgan because he's a great actor playing Negan. They're gonna mutilate how he talks because in the comic book he curses every other line, but he does it in a really in a cool way in the comic book because he sort of has this Superman-esque look to him. He looks sort of like, he's like a very clean-cut 50s biker type looking guy. So Jeffrey Dean Morgan to me is a little bit rough, a little bit too chiseled to play Morgan, but to play Negan.
No,
but I think he'll do well.
He's like an attractive guy, so it's like
a lot of people.
Like you look at his face and you think he's like a nice, attractive man, but then he's like this evil monster.
Right. A lot of people were talking about having the guy from Mad Men. The main actor who's in that show.
I've never seen Mad Men.
I've only seen parts of it. I might have saw the final episode. I couldn't get into it really. I hear it's like one of the greatest shows. It might be the greatest show, and that's what people say. To me, I can give a shit less. But I will try to give that show a chance.
I do think that redhead girl in it is
she's
really,
fucking,
really, really
Christina
hot.
Christina Hendricks is fucking hot, and she's married to one of the stoned guys from Super Troopers. Who I can't believe he must have an 8-foot penis. Anyway. I was expecting the guy from Mad Men because him physically to me looks like the actor Negan, but anyway, you'll see when you see Mad Men, you'll be like, oh yeah, he sort of looks like him if he had the shaved head, the kind of cropped haircut. But Negan is a very important character in the comic book. We're going to deal with him soon, obviously next season, because they bring up his name when Abraham and Sasha's car or convoy or truck is taken away from them.
They could have just shot a bazooka at them as they're all lined up.
This is more of that bad writing because these four bikers come in the car. You have 3 super characters that have been shooting the shit out of everybody. They're smart. They're well prepared. They're walking out of the...
I would have sped up the fucking car.
I would have ran right through them. They're walking out of the car with no guns, or Daryl does, and everybody else is sitting. I'm like, what is this? Like, why? I could understand.
Kind of a silly writing move.
I could understand people are stupid with what they do, but in horror shows, these are characters that we've seen for 5-6 seasons already. Why are they acting this way?
It wouldn't have been hard for them to seriously just I don't know, fucking shoot out their tires or something, and then they pull over.
Yeah, because these are essentially 3 Terminators, and they're like, oh, we're scared by 4 bikers. Haven't you killed 50,000 people already? Like, why are you all of a sudden worried about 4 bikers in their mid-40s? Like, whoa, what's going on? Anyway, oh boy. So let's talk about, Jesus Christ. Let's talk about Carl. Carl's relationship with his...
He's getting a lot better in this season.
I think he's still a bad actor. I can't help it.
He's fine.
He's bad. I feel bad for the kid because it seems like the kid's been on the show for 7 years already, something like that.
No, I think he did fine in this season.
Because there's a part where Rick is teaching the son of the guy he killed, right? Who is Jesse Anderson's son. I think the kid's name not Aaron, right? Is it Aaron?
Who gives a shit?
Rob. Was it Rob or something?
There's so many fucking names. We know who he is.
Well, anyway, and him and his little brother's like a basket case.
Ron.
Ron's little brother's a basket case who leaves little cookies on windowsills for all the ants to eat. And people were like, wow, that means all the zombies are going to attack. And I was like, wow, that is deep because I didn't see that shit. I thought it was just a cookie with ants eating it. And so Ron is trying to eventually kill Rick or Carl. And Carl forgives him for some reason. I think he sees, the insanity of what happens because Rick has killed this kid's dad, and Ron obviously wants to kill him. I think Ron's a better actor than Carl, but
I think Ron's a better actor than Carl too. But Carl is not that bad in this. I don't think he's that bad.
In the comic book, we know what's happening after the season finale. The season finale sort of ends. I don't want to spoil it here now, even though the Glenn spoiler is pretty horrendous. But I don't want to get into because it directly happens after the last scene of the season finale, and I don't know how they're gonna.
Another spoiler alert right here. Spoiler. Well, 2 spoilers actually. One, Carl gets his like eye shot out or something like around now, right? Like
maybe. I don't think that happens. This is the comic book. This hasn't happened in the show,
like,
so
that might happen. Like
right, it might happen.
and then the other thing is they foreshadowed that Rick was gonna remove his hand, and then they never followed up on it.
Yeah, there was a couple of times with that kind of stuff going on, but it didn't happen. So we leave it up in the air. A lot of stuff that happens.
Maybe that's what Negan will do. Maybe that's his first act. It'll be the chop off Rick's hand.
A lot of stuff that happens in the comic does not happen in the show.
No, but I mean they foreshadowed it in the episode.
Right, I get it.
Fucking with his hand.
But that But they also had Glenn climb under a dumpster. So I mean, they're fucking with the audience. They're obviously doing it, and they're probably and the thing with Glenn probably really was like, maybe we shouldn't have fucked with the audience in that way, and maybe there is an episode with Glenn getting his head bashed in. So the scare of him dying is probably not as bad as that time.
Imagine he gets his head bashed in, like so obviously dead, and then they bring him back like a few episodes later. He somehow survived it.
And then there's a second commercial with him on a chair going, "I'm glad to be back, guys." And he's like, they staple his head together and he's fine. And then
yeah, right. Like they do some like amazing surgery.
The shot is the bat like hitting him over the head, but it's like really bad editing. Like you saw the Star Wars the special editions when the Greedo shoots first instead of Han, and they digitally move Han Solo's head to the left so it misses the shot. So that's probably what they're gonna do with Glenn. They'll just warp his head to the left and the right so it doesn't get hit with a bat.
George Lucas had to fuck with things.
And you keep hearing the swinging sound effects. Anyway, so we also see Glenn dealing with that girl who writes JSS everywhere, who is Ron's Enid, Ron's ex-girlfriend, and I guess potentially Carl's new girlfriend, and and Glenn's like obsession with bringing her back. I say leave her alone. If she wants to go, let her go. All of a sudden, Glenn has to feel all bad about it. I guess
but
because
he's a nice guy.
He couldn't help save Nicholas, so now he has to save somebody else. What were things that stood out to you in this whole second half of the season? I thought it was a really good season. I thought it was a solid season. With the exception of some really stupid
there was like
decisions
one
by characters.
episode, I'm trying to remember which one, that I really was just like whatever, like I didn't care.
There was
it might have been
the Glenn with the
Now.
dumpster. Oh, okay. Well, what happens in the episode now? Was that
I honestly don't remember.
as the Alexandrians clean up the damage caused by the wolves, Rick arrives barely ahead. Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. So is Carl approaching Ron to help find the Enid. Yeah, that seems like a boring episode.
Yeah, it was kind of like it was just like there was so much happening, and then it was like, this is kind of boring. But
we do lose Deanna and whatever. I mean, we kind of saw that coming.
She left, but I mean, I knew she would. You know,
every leader in the show that Rick meets always dies for some reason. They just always die. It's like Rick is a storm of something that's just coming in to destroy everything that he's a part of. In the comic, his character has a big growth in the comic book, which I always try to figure out how they're going to change it with this show. But that's after a time jump, so we'll see if they'll do that kind of time jump stuff here. I thought it was a decent season. I liked it. You know what I mean? It was solid, decent.
They're not doing a time jump in the second half of the season.
No, definitely not. I'm sure maybe after the seventh season.
7 or something.
I think they're trying to make the show 9 seasons long. I think that's what the plan was.
Okay.
Well, that's already good for them getting rich off of what's that called when they put it
These
in?
people are fucking rich already. They don't need any more money.
Yeah, that's true. What is that when they put a show on TV? Syndication.
Syndication, yeah.
Certainly. I mean, it just shows all the time, so they've done well. And if they want to get it to 9 seasons, good for them. I'm sure the guy who played Andrew Lincoln will fucking own half of whatever city he wants because he'll be that fucking rich. He's the face of the show. What are your predictions with the show? What do you think's gonna go on?
Well, again, I don't know anything else about the comics at this point.
But just your own kind of.
Basically caught up to the comics where I am at. So
they're already fighting a whole new crew of people. It's just.
I mean, they're definitely gonna get into new societies.
Walking Dead is the same thing over and over, but Rick finds a community, fucks it up, and then he goes to another one. Yeah, the comic book has gotten to something different, and I like what they're doing now, and it feels sort of like it's going somewhere because the creator of the series, Robert Kirkman, says that he has an ending in mind. He just doesn't know when to get to it, so we'll see what happens.
Isn't the whole point that there'll never be an ending?
I think he says he would. I think he said it a while back. He said, "Wouldn't it be interesting if you saw a zombie film where they found a cure?" And I think we spoke about this last time with how
they tried to do that with that awful World War Z movie.
yeah, with Brad Pitt giving himself fucking herpes and AIDS and every disease to fight off the zombie strain. But I think they sort of had that. So you really are up in the air with it, but you're fine with how it's going so far.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna find more societies. They're gonna fight Negan. It's gonna be like this ongoing, war, and then Rick's gonna be the leader of like 5 different towns or something. Like, that's all I can guess at this point.
Negan has a sizable arc in the comic book. Because the comic went bi-weekly for a while, as opposed to being just monthly. So there's a lot of issues that deal with Negan's war with them. So I assume whatever we had with the governor is going to be double the amount.
Yeah.
You know how unnecessary the double amount of episodes. Basically, with the governor, they repeated one episode over. Just whatever that could have been dealt with in 2 episodes. Because in the comic, he was like less than 5 issues or something like that.
Although this guy's more obviously
10 issues, maybe.
Like the governor was like a crazy person. Who,
Negan's
to be good, but
Negan's the opposite of what Rick is. I mean, he's a very competent. Not that he's not a competent leader. He is a competent leader. He's just he's the opposite of Rick morally.
He's like a bad person.
He's able to sacrifice other people, but Rick is able to sacrifice people. But Negan is able to sacrifice people that are for him. You know what I mean? So that's going to be an interesting dynamic, but it's certainly going to be a super amount of episodes, and obviously fans that know about Negan are excited to see him in the show, which is cool. I'm glad to see what they're going to do with his character. He's a very hateable character, but he seems to be.
Read the comics.
I think you should. He's going to be a necessary villain for the show, but then there's in the comic book, he's already been dealt with. It's not a spoiler because he's still around in the comic, but there's another faction of bad guys that are in now, which is an interesting take as well. So I'm interested in seeing what they do with that. I mean, the comic book, you can spoil the show in some ways, but you can't because they decided to do so many changes to it. It makes both experiences interesting. I'm more interested in what's going to happen with... I'm actually interested more in the comic, but I'm interested in the show as well. So we'll see what happens. And
I'll always watch the show regardless.
Yeah, I mean, we've invested 6.5 seasons. Is it 6 seasons? 5.5 seasons. 5.5 seasons, right? I guess.
6.5 seasons. This is 6th season. We're halfway through.
Yeah, but we're only half of 6 seasons, so it would be 5.5 seasons.
We're almost up to 7 seasons.
Very good. So with that, the rating, I'd give this a 6, 7 for this first half. It had some really standout episodes. The attack on Alexandria are fucking great. The Morgan episode is very cool, sort of reflective episode. I give it a 7 out of 10. Trying to kill the man who assassinated your family member, trying to kill his son, then breaking a window and causing all heck to break loose with zombies breaking into the house.
Okay, I'm gonna give this an 8.5 the season. 8.5 out of 10. I thought it was really good. Oh, geez, this is hard, actually. Oh, God.
Wow, this is compelling. Nothing stood out for you.
Just keep talking. Hold on. I'm trying to think.
Stood out for Danny. You got 10.
I can't think of a single.
You have 10 seconds, and that's why it's an 8.
I can't think of a single thing right now. I'm really
you
trying.
You have 10 seconds, Danny.
My brain is just. You know what? I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10. This guy.
Oh boy.
You try to hurt this guy. He saves your life. He stands up for you. He does the right thing. He takes you under his wing and treats you the right way. And you pay him back by blowing your brains out and knocking him into a big pile of zombies.
See, and it took you that long to get into it. So let's do a rating of how hot the girls are in this season, Danny. Who would you say is the hottest from all the chicks? There's Rosalita.
Hottest from all the
Sasha.
Chicks. Rosita is really hot.
Rosita's very pretty. She's a very pretty girl, and she's gonna get fucked over by Abraham because he's gonna get Sasha.
Because he's a scumbag.
He's a piece of shit. And Rosalita doesn't need to be treated like that, although she does some of her bad stuff in the comic as well.
I don't care.
She's a nasty girl.
Right. He is wrong.
She's a nasty little girl in the comic. How about Carol? Is she still the bottom of the totem?
She's
What about
She's not my type.
Deanna or Carol?
Carol.
What is it about Carol that's not your type? Is it the haircut? What do you think it is?
For one thing, she's like 50 something.
Oh, ageist.
She's a great person. I'd be friends with her.
And just so we let anybody listening to the show know, none of these women would want either of us, so we know what we're dealing
true.
with. They would think we're worse than the zombies, so don't worry about it. They probably think we're disgusting. But
yes, they would definitely think I'm disgusting.
There's Michonne, there's Maggie.
Michonne's really growing on me, like as far as like a hot person.
Yeah, she's hot. She just always looks like, she'll like, you'll have sex with her. And then she'll,
freaky sex.
Yeah, and then she'll punch you right in the balls after, and you're like.
She'd pull out that sword, but it would like be tipped with like a rubber dildo or something.
And she pegs you with it. And you're like, oh no, oh Lucille. Anyway, with that, Danny, what's the final word?
Leather penis.
The Deconstruction.